Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Monday, May 26th, and a happy Memorial Day holiday to everyone in the United States. Hope you're enjoying it. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and Perlo in the house and getting ready for a Game 4 between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Panthers looking to get the brooms out and sweep away the Carolina Hurricanes for the second time in 3 years. We'll break down that game in just a moment. But first, we'll start with what we saw yesterday. An early Sunday afternoon affair in Edmonton between the Stars and the Oilers. And the Edmonton Oilers get the job done on the scoreboard, it was in convincing fashion. A 6-1 final score in favor of the Oilers. But the flow of the game certainly did not go that way to the tune of a 6-1 Edmonton final score. I think, look, it's clear as day what the difference in the game was. And it is our guy. I should have worn the shirt today. Skinner! Stuart Skinner has obviously had himself a few really good games in these playoffs so far. He's had multiple shutouts to this point, and he's had some really good performances going back to obviously the Vegas series when he got back in for an injured Calvin Pickard. There is no question in my mind that even as good as he was at times in the Vegas series, there was no better display that I have seen from Stuart Skinner in a game than yesterday. I thought he was absolutely spectacular. That was Marty Brodeur-like. That was Patrick Waugh-like. And it was really the second period that turned the tide because it was, obviously Edmonton got the 2-0 lead in the first period. That was obviously what started the good vibes for the Edmonton Oilers, was getting the 2 goals in the first period back-to-back that they did. It was obviously a tough break on the second goal, the 3-on-1 rush that went the other way that McDavid finished off because, down the ice, there's Jason Robertson getting his stick caught in a player with the Oilers and getting caught with an Oiler player, and that took him out of the play, really. But Edmonton, Dallas came out with the right mentality in the second period, and they dominated. They owned the second period. Unfortunately, the only place they didn't own the second period, Dallas, was on the scoreboard. Where they were just all over the Edmonton zone. That's when they got their 1 goal as well, which was a Robertson tip of a shot by Leon Bichel to make it 2-1. And they were rewarded for what was a very good road period. They were obviously all over the Edmonton zone, had Edmonton hemmed in, did all the things you wanted to see for a team that was down 2-0 after the first period. But Stuart Skinner held the fort, and it was not just the volume of saves, and we know the shots were all lopsided in favor of Dallas. He had to face a ton of grade A chances. He had to face about 4 or 5 difficult, high-degree saves and scoring chances for the Dallas Stars, and he came up big time and time again. And even if the key to me is that if Dallas somehow, even if they didn't obviously get the second goal in the second period, which they dominated. But if Dallas had gotten out of the second period down 2-1 still, they very much could have still, I think, found a way to win that game. What absolutely demoralized Dallas was the late goal in the second period that McDavid scored, his second of the game. Failure to clear the puck out. It was an incredible effort by McDavid to retrieve the puck after he had the wraparound chance to get it back, and he ripped a shot that was a terrific shot in the corner. I don't even think Jake Ottinger picked it up the whole way. And to get that back to 3-1 and a 2-goal lead, and to think of how well Dallas played in the second period to still be down by 2 goals, the same deficit they faced after the first period, that clearly had to take a lot of wind out of the sails of the Dallas Stars. Just that late goal in the second period. And then, of course, the third period, Edmonton ended up pulling away. Dallas had no choice but to, get the defensemen activated, joining the play, joining the rush, and that left them vulnerable for the odd man rushes the other way. And Edmonton certainly made them pay. What an unbelievable pass, by the way, by Evander Kane on the goal Zach Hyman scored. And what a game it was for Zach Hyman yesterday as well. For the Edmonton Oilers. So, like I said, it was a very good win for Edmonton. But let's be honest, Dallas, if I'm coming out of that game and the players and Peter DeBoer all said it in the media, we liked a lot of our game here today. Let's be real. It's not like it's 6-1 on the scoreboard, but didn't feel like a 6-1 game. And it's not just that they had the edge in shots on goal, because we've said on the million times on this show how shots on goal can lie to you. Didn't lie yesterday. They had a bunch of just glorious chances, and that's about as good as I've ever seen Stuart Skinner play. There is no question about it. He was that good yesterday for the Edmonton Oilers, and scary now for Dallas and anyone that faces Edmonton, likely Florida, in the Stanley Cup final, should Edmonton get there, is the fact that Stuart Skinner's not waiting till game 4 to have games like that now. Game 2, he gets a shutout. Game 3, he was better yesterday in the win, despite giving up the goal, than he was in game 2 when he got the shutout, in my opinion. I thought he was even better yesterday because he just faced a higher degree of quality chances, way more quality chances. Dallas had glorious looks, grade A looks all over the place, especially in that second period, and they just could not bury it. And Stuart Skinner's a big reason why. So obviously, Rope Hintz was a big storyline going into that game. He didn't play. He took the pregame line rushes or pregame skate, but didn't go. We'll see his status going into game 4 tomorrow night. But definitely, like I said, Dallas, good enough to win, but the goalie for the Edmonton Oilers said otherwise. It's just funny, I hear too, Connor and Leon. It's almost like they're defiant to the media and they have to defend their reputation as a good defensive team. They get a little, they get agitated when they get asked about how, wow, you guys really played great defense. Well, we know we're a good defensive team. And they said it again yesterday. We know we're a good defensive team. We played a heck of a game at the defensive end. That's a little overblown to me. You needed your goalie to be spectacular. You gave up a few too many great looks. I mean, the fact that that was some defensive masterpiece by the Edmonton Oilers, to me, is a bunch of nonsense. I mean, yeah, they were good enough defensively yesterday, but let's be real. Skinner had to face a bunch of quality chances, and he turned them aside. I'll say one play that really stuck out to me, and it's Troy Stetcher, another stroke of genius by Knobloch, who's coaching again, another great playoffs for the Oilers. He puts him in instead of Emberson. And the play Stetcher made to race down the ice when Dallas had looked like an odd man rush, to get himself back in position, take away the pass in front of the net, and then to block the pass across the crease area and kept it from maybe being a tap in for Dallas. That was one of the best defensive plays I've seen of the series. And Troy Stetcher is the guy that had it for Edmonton yesterday in that win. So credit to Edmonton, though. I mean, if Stuart Skinner is going to play like that, good luck beating them. You're not beating them if Stuart Skinner is going to have games like that. It's really that simple. But can he keep it up at that level? And can Dallas break through? I mean, obviously, they thought they had generated enough chances to win that game yesterday, but it wasn't good enough. So you're going to have to continue to get traffic. You're going to have to continue to just fire pucks from anywhere. You're going to have to take that kind of mentality now against a guy that is clearly in the zone, clearly feeling it, and has now given up just one goal in his last 2 games. That's got to be that's got to be the mindset and the focus for the Dallas Stars. Traffic, bodies to the net, and shots from everywhere to try to rattle Stuart Skinner, who's clearly in one hell of a zone right now, helping the Oilers take a 2-1 series lead to game 4 on Tuesday night, which will be a betcast Tuesday night as well. And we are looking forward to that. So again, make sure you join us. It's 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. It's Patreon exclusive tomorrow night for game 4. It's a pivotal game in the series, obviously, because you don't like Dallas's chances at all if they go down 3-1. But if they win tomorrow night, it's a brand new series again, with the scene shifting back to the AAC in Dallas. So it's a huge, critical game 4 in the Western Conference Final tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday, May 27th, Patreon exclusive. Make sure you sign up. $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys to join us for the live betcast tomorrow night for Western Conference Final, Game 4, Stars, Oilers. Alex, your thoughts on Edmonton's victory on Sunday?
Yeah, I wore this T-shirt for a reason. I got the joint here and the green and black rolling because everybody needs to relax if you're a Dallas fan. I know it looked ugly. It was
I know who you're
horrific.
thinking of as you're saying that, yes.
This has been a bad 6
A
periods of
certain
hockey for
brother
the most
duo was a little bit stressed yesterday. That
Not
we know
even
and
not
love.
even them. Not just them. It was a lot of people. I got texts and DMs. Dallas is dead. Stars are done. This series is over with. Dallas hasn't made a playoff series easy in the last 5 years. Okay, and we saw them make it all the way to a cup final, and this would be the fourth time of the last 5 years where they've made the Western Conference Final. They haven't made it easy in any of the series. So why would that start now? Why would that have started off of game one? We knew this was going to be a difficult series. Me personally, betting the 6-game, 7-game split. Ian has that as well. This is going to be a long, drawn-out series. So to say that, yes, the momentum has shifted drastically from one side to the other, that is certainly true. But like I said, we're seeing a Stuart Skinner that we really haven't seen before. This is an elevated level. Even when we talk about the closeout numbers, we're seeing him play at that level, if not beyond that particular level. So how, like you said, can he keep rolling this back? Can this trend continue? And now that Dallas, as far as like you said, they played a better game on the road mentally. They finally got their mental, issues out of the way by getting that goal. That one goal, even though it looked like I said, it looks like nothing on the score sheet, 6-0, 6-1. Who gives a shit? They lost. But that one goal, by finally breaking that streak, knowing, hey, we know we can get pressure. You saw the momentum and the shot quality, the shot selection improve in the second and third periods, even though nothing else went in. But that was a huge confidence booster and confidence builder that they can take into this next game. We talk about it all the time, looking at the series from kind of a storyboard setup. Okay, so now you got out of these last 5-6 periods that have been bad. You have to stem the tide, start with a fresh start and a clean slate, and carry that over and play a good game, period one, in the next contest. This is definitely going to be a back and forth tilt still. Edmonton, we know how well they play with momentum. We know how well they're playing also when they're chasing. So these are two teams that really you can throw out where the standings are at the point, right? You can throw out the fact that it's a 2-1 Edmonton lead because we've seen them blow leads. We've seen Dallas come back in series. So everybody just relax. This is going to be a long series, a hard fought battle. But Dallas has to bring their A+ game in game 4. Otherwise, everything I'm saying is completely moot. They have to bring that A game level, but they showed the signs, even in a 6-1 blowout loss, that this series is far from over. They still showed some fight. They didn't completely give up. Didn't look like what we saw with Carolina and Florida in Game 3. Okay, where they looked like they could have packed their bags, grabbed their golf clubs, and went the fuck home. After that contest, it's a completely different feel when you see one team lose to the other in these two series.
No, I think Dallas still believes they can beat Edmonton. I still do. I mean, even after yesterday, they said all the right things. They should. I mean, the only thing they didn't, they had an A game. I honestly do think it was an A-level game from Dallas, certainly in terms of carrying the play, but they had an F level of finish. And at the end of the day, that's now becoming a big problem for the Dallas Stars, and they're going to have to solve it. One goal in 2 games not going to win you a series against this team. Team that's playing with great confidence and good defense without Matthias Ekholm that's playing with great confidence. Obviously a blue line that's playing with great confidence right now. Goalie that's playing with great confidence. They're getting depth contributions. How many times have we said that? Look at Nugent Hopkins, Hyman. Yeah. Look at what Henrique and Perry and Connor Brown, have chipped into the cause over the course of the playoffs as well. And what I'm seeing from Dallas right now is Mikko Rantanen. This is the longest period of silence that we have seen offensively from him.
Yeah.
Here in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He's
got to wake up.
Cooled off. He's kind of hit the wall a little bit. Yeah, Wyatt Johnston. We love Wyatt Johnston, but this is now a longer drought than we're used to seeing from him. That's got to change. That's got to change for Dallas. Simple as that. If they're going to win this series. Tyler Seguin and Matt Duchene, we got them involved in the Game 1 comeback, but still need more from some of those guys. Mason Marchment, need a little offense from him. I know Jason Robertson got credit for the goal because it hit his stick when Bischel shot it, but still need a little more from him. There's a lot of players that you can point to right now in the Dallas Stars. We need some offense from you right now. And until they get it, they're going to be in some trouble in this series. Obviously, if that changes, they're not going to be in so much trouble. And there's a chance to win the next game and get back in the series and win it. But like I said, that's got to happen right now. These are guys that have been getting it done for you all season, all playoffs, especially Rantanen and Wyatt. They got to get it going. It's really that simple. Perlo, your thoughts on yesterday?
Yeah, well, I mean, I posted yesterday.
And shout out to Perlo. He live bet Oilers puck line. You can say what you want about how Dallas, carried the play and had all these chances, but at the end of the day, he cashed a ticket, and it was the right call.
It turned out to be the right call, but like you said, Dallas did put out their best effort there in the second. But the thing I've noticed with them is the sting is off their shots. They're getting in the positions, but when they get there, they don't have the energy to do much with it. And that is the big reason for that for me. Are Seguin, Ben, and Duchesne. I call them the geriatric trio on that team, and they're weighing down that team.
They've looked at times. I can't agree with that.
It's the problem. Robertson, something not well. You don't want Blackwood being the leading shot producer on your team, and that's what happened yesterday. Blackwood was your leading shot producer on your team. Granlund, when it's time to come up big, one shot on goal, and it's not just that Dallas isn't trying the best they can. It's that Dallas or the Edmonton is able to shut down those lines because they're not afraid of Duchesne. They're not afraid of Seguin. They're not afraid of those guys. And until you can see that a reason why to be afraid of them, there's no reason to worry about them. So they're going to have to come up big. And I put my bank on the fact that they're not. I took a little stab at Oilers to run this out. I think that's possible. I'm banking my buddy Rico, who said that pre-series. You got to remember, he said Oilers in 5, and I argued with him, and I was like, I don't know about that, dude, but I am putting a little bit on there. So I already have the Oilers in the series as it is. Can Skinner keep that up? I mean, here's the thing: is like I said, though, they did get a lot of chances, but there wasn't a lot of sting on a lot of those shots. I think they made Skinner look better than Skinner is, to tell you the honest truth. The Blackwood isn't going to got 5 shots on goal. How many times is Blackwood going to do something that's going to make a goaltender freak out? He's not. He's got the same move pretty much. Shoot it, try to catch a corner, but he doesn't have much on his shot. That the big thing with me is, like you said, is Rantanen. That's has to be. If I'm wrong on taking that in 5, won't matter because I still think the Oilers win the series. It's because Rantanen comes up and does something. And I honestly don't know what's going on there. That's the one guy that's a head scratcher to me. Rantanen, except for the fact that the Oilers are just focusing on Rantanen because they're not as afraid of anybody else on the ice right now. They're allowing guys to shoot who really are not really shooters or don't have the stamina right now to be shooting at a high pace and from areas that are going to cause them problems. So that's what I saw. That's the reason why I took that. It was before the game. I took the Oilers in 5 and I took the -3.5. I figured Dallas is probably going to come out hard. Of course, they're going to come out hard. They want to win. They're going to come out as hard as they can. My problem is I think that might be the best game they can play. They might be the best game they can play, and they lost. And going into the next game, the only one I'm afraid of is the one at home. This is still a team that plays for each other. That's how they beat Colorado. This is still a team that is a huge family. They've been together a long time. They have a great bond in that room. And that one at home, I'm pretty sure is going to be tough for the Oilers to win. That one's going to be difficult. But I put a little bit on it anyways. And we'll see if we hit it, but that's it in a nutshell for me. I just think Dallas, like people, I've had people ask me in DM or on Twitter, what do you think is the difference now with Dallas against Colorado with the Oilers? It's the difference is this is 3 rounds later and they have a lot of old players. That's the difference. And they've also had a lot of defensemen. Heiskanen wasn't in there. So they've had defensemen that have had to play higher than they're normally used to, more minutes than they're normally used to. And I think it's just starting to wear on them. If the Oilers were playing Dallas in the first round, I think Dallas probably wins the series in the first round. But in the third round, I just don't see it. And you mentioned, Ian, great point on how Knobloch has brought in fresh legs through this round. And what has Dallas been able to do in that way? They don't really have the depth to bring in guys to be able to bring in fresh legs. Kapanen is not that great of a player, but with fresh legs, he's probably as good as Ben Duchesne and Seguin right now. Same, Podkolzin was playing lower in the lineup, and now they're giving him more minutes. So he's done a masterful job, as you said, at utilizing his lineup and putting the right people in at the right times. And it's working out very well for them. In the next round now, I guess we'll talk about that in the Florida series. But in this one, I think the Oilers it really has a good chance of taking a stranglehold and taking this all the way. I'm hoping not, because I want to see more hockey for one. And I love a lot of the guys I just talked about.
Yeah.
I love Sagan. I love Ben. I love those guys. And I would love to see me be incorrect about this and them just come out and burst out in this next game or something like that and show that, that heart can take precedence over maybe the body sometimes, and they can go out and do it. But I got to see it.
The mind is willing, but the flesh is weak. It's one of my
Yeah,
favorite quotes.
yeah,
I've used
yeah,
it a
yeah.
bunch on this show. Dallas's mind is willing, but the flesh is weak is definitely a concern of mine. Because we have seen in the Western Conference Final last year, remember, they were up 2-1, and then it's bang, bang, bang. 3 straight wins Edmonton rattles off to win that series in 6.
Yeah.
2 years ago against Vegas, we know what happened. They went quietly into the night, and Vegas just took down what looked like a exhausted Dallas team. I'm worried about the exhaustion factor. I have to admit, it's definitely real. It's definitely possible that Dallas has hit that level again. But the next game will prove that. And we're going to definitely, like I say, if they duplicate, because that was a game that was winnable for Dallas based on the way they played and how they carried the play and the chances they had. They can replicate that in game 4. We've got a good chance to see the series tied. But what if they can't? What if that was their game yesterday, to have that performance and they come back down a little bit and Edmonton picks it up a little bit more? That's where the trouble lies, maybe, with Dallas in this. Another thing, too, is that Wyatt Johnston, people are making a big deal of the stat that he's minus 17 in the playoffs. And yeah, okay, this defensive game has never been phenomenal, but he's obviously been such a high-end offensive player that people didn't really bother to pay attention to that, and because his offense was that good. Now that his offense has cooled off a little bit, especially in this series, now people are making a big deal of his defensive flaws and that plus-minus rating. Here's how you fix that. And Peter DeBoer, he's got to wear this too. He got outmaneuvered by Knobloch last year, and so far it's starting to look like that this year a little bit as well. That for DeBoer, get Jamie Benn off Wyatt Johnston's line. That's part of the problem. Jamie Benn is just, it's weighing him down big time. The guy can't skate, okay? And Matt Robinson and anyone else can talk about, he took a puck off the skate. No, he's playing with a fucking piano on his back, a boulder on his back. He could barely get a loose puck there one-on-one that I saw a couple of times yesterday. And it's slowing down that line, and it's probably hurting Wyatt's defensive game a little bit. So, and Jamie's got to get a little something going offensively. I get it. He's down the lineup now. But boy, it's tough to watch at times what we're seeing right now from the captain of the Dallas Stars. Like I said, there's no burst at all in his skating stride right now. So that's a concern. And I think that's probably part of the reason why the Wyatt defensive numbers, really aren't spectacular right now at this point in time. But like I said, Dallas, I thought still they can look at that game and say we did a lot of good things. We just need the result to go with it. And they'll have a chance to in game 4. And the concern now is, what if Connor McDavid uses yesterday as a blueprint to say, I got to start shooting the puck more? Because everyone has been yelling it for years. Connor McDavid, shoot the puck more. You've got a good shot. And we certainly saw it yesterday for the 2 goals. He usually is a guy that'll defer to passing and be in the playmaker and the assist man. But boy, oh boy, if he starts shooting the puck, that is going to make things a lot more dangerous, obviously, for the Edmonton Oilers moving forward. And like I said, I think he doesn't shoot it as much, and he probably should, because he's got a better shot than you would think, and he put that on display yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's always been the issue with 97 in sometimes in these clutch moments where, like you said, he's deferring to someone else. You're the superstar. You're the whole fucking show, right? Then you shoot the puck. The puck should be on your stick, based on what everybody in the world's saying. So, there's times I understand you want to be a great teammate, set up other guys, but in clutch time, that one guy has to step up and do it. And it needs to be 97 more times than not. Now, Draisaitl, to his account, has been that guy to kind of finish things off. He's more of the, I would say, the guy that's the go-to finisher on that team. But we know McDavid has the ability to do it. He needs to step up and do that more often, especially in these big moments like right now.
6 games without a point for Ben. And again, I don't want to be too harsh, but got to get something, especially if he's going to play with Wyatt Johnston. You got to get something from him offensively, and you're just not seeing it. So a huge game for Dallas tomorrow night, game 4. And we will obviously be on the air for the BetCast. It's a great BetCast game because it's such a pivotal game. It's the swing game. It's either Edmonton's going to be in potential cruise control and on their way to another Stanley Cup final, or Dallas is going to be right back in the series and it's down to a best of 3. So it's a big game 4 tomorrow night. Definitely looking forward to that. I can't say I'm looking forward to this game 4 tonight nearly as much. We've got the Eastern Conference Final, game 4, Carolina Hurricanes, Florida Panthers. Florida minus 170, home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. We talked about it on the recap of the Florida-Carolina game. Actually, we didn't because we weren't on yesterday. So it's just amazing how it just fell apart for Carolina. Actually, through 2 periods, they played a solid game. In fact, the second period of game 3 might have been one of their best periods of the whole series, Carolina, because they were down 1-0. They carried the play. They got the Taylor Hall goal to tie the game at 1. But to give up that goal early in the third period, one of many neutral zone turnovers that we saw, obviously, in the third period of that game, including, of course, the one that started the onslaught in the third. Jesper Boquist, bargain bin special of the night, cashing in for me Saturday in game 4 with that 2-1 goal. And it's just like that completely crushed the will and the spirit of the Carolina Hurricanes because they just melted down after that. Turnover city, defensive gaffes. Florida got momentum. And then when Florida made it 3-1, it just felt like the route was on at that point, and it just completely got away from the Carolina Hurricanes. It was documented very well in the post game by Paul Bissonnette. Not only are they getting beaten and bludgeoned on the ice, as far as in terms of the play on the ice, they're getting beaten and bludgeoned physically. The Carolina Hurricanes, and they're just getting manhandled physically right now. And just their pushback and sticking up for one another factor as a team is just pathetic right now compared to the Florida Panthers. Paul Bissonnette said it. They're going after Aho for the Reinhart hit, and Tkachuk is just, wailing on him there at the end, and nobody gets in there to go after Tkachuk and stand up for Sebastian Aho. Do you know how much of a horseshit look that is for a hockey team, that nobody's got Sebastian Aho's back in that situation? It's a horrific look for the Carolina Hurricanes there at the end of that game. And it was kind of knew Florida was going to, with the game out of hand, they knew they were going to win and go up 3-0 in the series. You knew they might go after Aho, look for their pound of flesh for the hit he had on Reinhart. That nobody got in there to stick up for Aho and get after Tkachuk is just, it's disheartening. It's sickening, quite honestly, that Carolina displayed themselves like that at the end of the game. No team camaraderie, no sticking up for our teammate. It's just a team that, mentally weak, physically weakened now and beaten down by this Florida Panthers team. Now, we do have some injuries for Florida. Is this enough to open the door for Carolina? I'm not really convinced of that. But there are 3 injury absences. Reinhart is still a no-go. He'll miss his second straight game here tonight. Nico Mikkola has been one of their better defensemen after probably their best defenseman after Ekblad and Forsling in these playoffs. And they thought he was going to be able to play. It looked like it, but no, they're going to rest him. I think this is more precautionary. I think Paul Maurice and the coaching staff feels like, hey, we're up 3-0. If we need to give Nico Mikkola a game, we will do that. So he's going to be out and as well. And AJ Greer, who's been part of that great fourth line for the Florida Panthers with Gadjevich and Noshik, he will also be out. So in comes, obviously, Boquist will stay in because he took Reinhardt's spot, and he'll stay up there with Rodriguez and Barkov on the top line. They're not splitting up Bennett, Tkachuk, and Verhaeghe. Why would you? Because they have been great again the last couple games. But coming in will be Sturm for the Nico Sturm for the Florida Panthers will come in on the fourth line here tonight in this game. He'll take the place of Greer, and it will be Uvis Balinskis, the Latvian defenseman, who we have seen before in the playoffs, and he'll enter the lineup for the absence of Mikkola. And don't forget, Balinskis is capable. He's a solid player. They've got depth there, and he actually scored in a previous playoff game. Now, I don't believe we've seen Balinskis since the Tampa series in the first round. That's how long ago it was. But, like I said, I think when you look at this situation, he's capable of going in there and playing well, still in a depth role. And then you can rely still on, a blue line that's just been great. Kulikov and Jones have been great. Nate Schmidt will get a few more minutes. Okay, but he scored in the playoffs too. I mean, this whole collective blue line, they've picked each other up. They really have. And so, like I said, it's been very impressive to see this blue line and how everyone has made a very strong and meaningful contribution to the team. Carolina, I don't know where Rod Brindamore can go. I mean, it looks like he's not doing a whole lot as far as line changes, although it looks like Aho and Jarvis, Taylor Hall is going to be moved up there. See if he can maybe get something going with them. Svechnikov has been great playoffs up until this series, but he's been just horrific, quite honestly, in this series with Kotkaniemi and Blake. Martin, Stahl, and Stankoven. Actually, Logan Stankoven's one of the players I would not, totally criticize as much. I think he's been, the effort's been there. There's more from other guys that you need. You need more from Jarvis, Aho, and Svechnikov. You need especially a lot more. Kotkaniemi's giving you nothing. So there's just too many zeros right now across this roster right now for Carolina. And to be honest, it's been a rough series for the great Jacob Slavin and Brent Burns. That pair on the blue line, man, they've had a tough go. They have had a really tough go, and it's been a while since Slavin's had these kind of defensive issues, and he's been on the ice for more goals than you would think. And, of course, they're still banged up and shorthanded there with Walker and Chatfield still out. So it's going to be Slavin, Burns, Orlov, Nikishin, Gostisbehere, and Morrow still going to be the 6 on D for the Carolina Hurricanes. And Rod Brindamore's made the decision that I figured he would to go back to Freddie Anderson here in net for Game 4. Not that it was not Kochekov's fault. The whole team just collapsed in the third period. But at the same time, you do need a save at some point. Kochekov did not deliver one in the third period. So, like I said, Anderson back in. Does it really matter if the team is dominated physically again by Florida? No, to me, it does not. I think this is done. I think this is a wrap. I think it ends in a sweep tonight. There's nothing that Carolina's showed me that tells me they're capable of winning a game in this series, even with some injuries to Florida. To me, I with what I saw from Carolina mentally in Game 3, they're mentally beaten. It's not just physically anymore. They're mentally beaten. Do they even believe they can win a game in this series, let alone come back and win the series? Not the way they collapsed in the third period, in my opinion. So I know they got a couple guys. No Mikkola, no Greer, no Reinhardt still. But this has been the ultimate next man up team. It's at the point where you could harken back to 30 years ago, and you could probably put Scott Mellenby and Robert Schwela and Jason Woolley and Eddie Jovanovski, who's doing Panthers TV now. You could probably put some of those guys on the ice tonight for the Panthers. Bring them out of retirement. They could still have a shot to beat the Carolina Hurricanes, I think, tonight in this game. So we're just running it back. Florida team total over 3.5. They've scored at least 5 goals in every game in this series. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'll dabble in some puck line and alternative puck lines too in case it gets ugly. Well, small bets with those because we've already got Florida. I took a shot with the sweep there. I know Alex took a bigger shot on it with them to get the sweep. So like I said, but the primary bet is just get me 4 goals. I don't really think Florida will have too much issue getting 4 goals. They've been able to score at least 5 in every game this series. So Panthers team total over 3.5 for me to put away the Hurricanes mercifully. Alex, what do you think here? Eastern Conference Final Game 4.
We talk about potential fatigue with seeing Dallas and how they've played in their recent Western Conference Finals. You got to say the same about Carolina, perhaps, right? You look at this team and how they've been able to get this far and then show absolutely nothing. 15 straight losses in the conference final, dating all the way back to 2009. And like I said, different teams, different makeups, different rules, damn near, and it's still the same shit as far as this team in round 3 of the playoffs. I don't know what changes here. Florida's playing just fantastic hockey, and that's the thing. It's not all, Carolina's falling off a cliff. This is majority. Florida's playing damn near perfect hockey every night. Like you said, they're getting, everything they need from every single player. The fourth line guys are grinding their asses off. The defensemen are blocking shots. Your top line guys are scoring. Your goaltender's making saves. You can't ask for anything more at this point. And like you said, even with the injuries, the next man up has been there because we talked about their depth all season long. That's why you make the moves you make in the off season and at the trade deadline to bolster your roster up. So when you have guys go down, you can plug them and play them, and nothing changes. And I don't see anything changing here. So give me empty net goal, yes, plus $1.10. That's up at MGM along with Florida to score an empty net goal plus 240. Shop around. Third period team total over for Florida. It's plus 165 at BetMGM. Do not go there. Go to FanDuel where it's plus 200. It was plus 210 earlier when I bet it. So definitely shop around for props like that. But those are my 3 plays, and then there's a 4 play I have that I'll talk about a little bit later in the bargain bin. It's been a nice run for Carolina, but Florida's just simply a better team, and they put this one away tonight.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel, Evans. I generally don't mind being contrarian, but I'll need to ask my mommy for an extra scoop of stupid if I'm going to bet on the Hurricanes.
If you really feel Carolina can pull out the win tonight, there's 2 bets you make: Carolina money line, and then you bet Florida to win series 4-1 plus 330. While there's still good value on that, because there's no way you're getting plus 330 betting Florida to win Game 5. Yeah. So I would recommend that if you truly do feel Carolina can win this game and salvage it and stretch it out for one more night.
Yeah, we'll see if they can. That's a big if. But like I said, and even with the 3 different guys in the lineup, like I said, Sturm's played a lot. Belinskas has played a lot this year on the blue line for them. And look at Boquist. Boquist takes the spot of Reinhardt. He scores what ended up being the game win. Or it actually wasn't, because they got a late second goal, but gave him the lead at the time, 2-1. In the third period of Game 3. That's the guy taking the spot of one of your best players, two-way players, one of the best scorers in the league, a great defensive player as well, Sam Reinhart. Jesper Boquist has taken his spot, and look at the impact he made in that game. So it just speaks to how it truly has been every single player on this team and on this roster contributing in a positive fashion to the cause. Perla, what do you think here? Game 4, Canes-Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, with the new players coming, is it going to be? Are they putting Sam Samoskevich in, or
no Samoskevich? It's Nico Sturm, better defensive player.
Just Sturm. Okay,
Sturm.
But it's still Sturm when fresh legs. Regardless, like Sturm's not a bad player, and he's on fresh legs. We talked about it with the Edmonton Oilers. They brought in Kapanen when fresh legs, and now he's got fresh legs. He's not that bad of a player. I don't think it changes much for Florida here at all to have to go that direction. Mikkola Belinskas is okay. It's a little bit, but they could play their top 4 in this and barely play their bottom pair. So because they can go balls out in this game and have a rest and be able to play Edmonton. I should get ahead of myself, but play.
Yeah, that series ain't over yet. This one might be, but that series
they can play Edmonton or Dallas in the finals and have and rest up the players that they have. As far as Carolina, I've been saying this for a long time. I don't want to it's a broken record. That system is too hard to play, Brindy. I don't care what you say. I know you want machines. I know you want to build a machine team that you can hold up on your mantle and say, look how awesome I was. I created a practically inhuman team that can play a practically inhuman system and win a cup. It ain't going to happen. And I actually thought this year was the year that it might get a chance at it, because they didn't have a tough time against New Jersey. They didn't really have a tough time against Washington. They probably were in one of the better spots that they could be this year going into Florida. But here's the thing, and this is something that really is telling to me. If I'm wrong and Carolina wins, obviously you know what I'm doing here. If I'm wrong and Carolina wins, Hall came out, and this is what he said. He said, Toronto took them to 7, so obviously they're not a perfect team. Well, Hall, Florida did not play Toronto like they played. They weren't playing at their best against Toronto like they are against you right now. This is a team that slowly rolls uphill. They don't go down. So if you think they're not a perfect team because they're playing because of how they played against Toronto, then you're in trouble coming into Game 4. Secondly, Toronto's a better team than yours. That's the other thing. So there's that too. And I know that he's in the mindset of Carolina Hurricanes players. They can't think that and don't think that, but it is a fact. Toronto would have beat Carolina. All the Toronto fans are saying we could have beat Carolina, all of that stuff like that. Correct. I would imagine you could. I don't think you beat them in 4, but you probably beat them. So going into this game, I think they have a mindset where 2 things I got from that too. They're not a perfect team. They're playing pretty darn close to perfect. So all you're telling me is that you're hoping that they don't play perfect. Because if they play perfect, you're going to lose. That doesn't sound like belief to me. Belief is believing you're going to beat the team whether they play perfect or not. That's what a team that believes in winning is going to do. So I agree with you. I don't think Carolina is truly believing that they can beat this team if that team plays at their best. And if you don't believe that way, they don't even have to play at their best and they'll beat you. Slavin, as you said, is blocking more shots than he ever has in his career. If you see Slavin blocking a whole ton of shots, that's a problem. Because Slavin is a defensive defenseman that doesn't usually have to block shots because it's not in his side of the ice. He gets it out quick. His D partners get it out quick. He's one of the best defensive defensemen ever, and he hardly ever has to block a shot. That's what makes him great. He's blocking tons right now. And without Walker, without Chatfield, we've talked on the Morrow is out of class, man. You know as well as I do that. And Nikishin, he looked good for a game, but you're asking a rookie to go up against this Florida team like that, I think they're going to eat him alive. Yeah, okay, I get it. It's Carolina's spot in the sense that they're going to play with desperation, but desperation without belief and without a team that can, I think, do it just isn't going to be there. It might be better. They might look a little better. They'll fight in the first. Best I could do is draw first period. I think that would be a good pick. In fact, I might even play that. But I got Panthers over 3. I got it early at -120 or something like that. Over 3.5. Alt. I got in regulation, couldn't play at money line, and -1.5 and all that stuff. And I have Carolina team total under 2.5. I just don't see that team scoring 3 goals against Florida at any point. I just can't see it. So I got all that, and I got quite a bit on it.
He's given up 2 goals or less, Bobrovsky, by the way, in 7 straight starts. 6-1 during that time. 2 goals or less in 7 straight starts. And the one loss was the 2-0 loss, Game 6 against Toronto. And he still only gave up 2 goals.
Anderson might cut a goal or 2 out of it. I mean, I do think he's better, but I don't think. The only way this Carolina wins this game is if Florida comes in a little too high on, like what actually I listened to that thing, Paul Maurice, you sent that out, and I listened to the whole thing. And Paul Maurice said it himself. Last year, they came out trying to win right away instead of just playing the game. Yep. And they overpressed themselves, and they were trying to score too much in situations where they should have been playing a full game, team game. That's about the only way they lose this game is if they are over anxious to win the game rather than just playing the game. And and that was awesome that you sent that because that was a master class again by Paul Maurice. And then you have Paul Maurice, who is as an amazing coach as he is. So, but that's about the only way they lose this game. And since Paul Maurice brought it up publicly, you think they're going to fall that way this year? Probably not. So, Florida, everything.
And when his team has needed a jolt, Paul Maurice has made those line changes and adjustments in the lineup that have paid off, that have given him the jolt. Putting the fourth line of Gadjevich, Greer, and Noshik together. Reuniting Bennett, Kachuk, and Verhaeghe, a line that was utterly dominant for an extended period of the Stanley Cup championship run last year. Putting them back together and the way they've played now the last few games. He's just pushed all the right buttons, and Rod's still looking for the right, combination to get his team going. And even if he were to find it, is it going to be enough when you're just getting physically manhandled? We said this early in the series. Florida's the bigger team. They're just the stronger team. I think they're the mentally tougher team, and they've shown to be the deeper team. Like they're getting the third and the fourth line every night making an impact. And Carolina has not had that impact at all from their depth. Bottom 6 guys, and their blue line's not chipping in offense every night like the Florida Panthers are. Every Florida defenseman, including the guy taking the spot of Mikola Balinskis, who's played sparingly in these playoffs, even he scored a goal here in these Stanley Cup playoffs so far. So, it's been just remarkable what Florida, they truly are a team in every sense of the word and gotten contributions from everybody. As far as props, we're just running back a lot of the same stuff as far as Florida. Ekblad point, Bennett point, all reasonable prices still. Evan Rodriguez, 4 straight games with a point. Why would you not go back to that? Him and Barkov have been magic, actually, together since he's been up there again with Barkov. And Boquist on that line, so I'm running it back to with Boquist, goal prop again, up on that top line. It's a great value again, considering obviously what he was able to do, and he's fit in perfectly with them on the top line here in these playoffs. So it's just basically, running back the same stuff. Most of these bets hit for me in Game 3 on Saturday night. Panthers team totals. Panthers, as far as, you could even go alternative team total. Take a shot. They get to the 4.5 over, the 5.5. I mean, they've scored 5 goals in every game in this series. It's worth a shot, to take the plus money, even at the team totals that are offered. And then, of course, the same thing with the props. I mean, all those players have been great at chipping in. The third line, whether it's Kuhlman, Luostarinen, Lundell, and Marchand, probably they're worth a sprinkle as well to maybe make an impact offensively. And again, with Boquist, still get as high as plus 462 right now for him to score a goal tonight for the Florida Panthers, which is great value considering, obviously, his spot on the line in the lineup on the top line and what he was able to do in Game 3. So we'll see how it plays out. But obviously, as you can tell, we're not overly optimistic. The Canes have it in them to extend this series past tonight and into a Game 5 on Wednesday night. But shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. We hope you're enjoying your Memorial Day holiday. And just a reminder one more time that tomorrow night, it's a huge game in the series. Dallas, Edmonton, Game 4, Western Conference Final, 8 p.m. Eastern. Patreon exclusive live betcast tomorrow night on Tuesday for Game 4 in the West Final. Make sure you sign up and subscribe to be a part of that betcast. Just $10 per month. Patreon.com/IceGuys. Goalie charts, totals charts, our daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day. All the remaining Patreon exclusive live betcasts for the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Plus, of course, we've got lots of stuff in the offseason. More Player Suite interview series episodes will be recorded and posted on the Patreon page. And we'll have a daily card in the other sports. So that if you want to keep your subscription active through the summer months and the NHL offseason, we'll have you covered. And don't forget our NHL free agency recap show, which we always do in July. That will be Patreon exclusive as well. So another reason to stay a member on throughout the summer. And again, we'll post some daily cards throughout the summer in the non-hockey sports as well to keep the content flowing. So again, $10 per month, patreon.com/IceGuys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Today's Memorial Day. If you missed that 20% off sale, you can get 25% off until midnight tonight. That's on all items in the store. Hit the redeem button at the homepage, add your items to your cart, and 25% will be taken out at checkout. That's now until midnight Eastern, 11 Central. That's over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, good stuff indeed. Make sure you check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page.
Hey, Alex, have you checked out the latest with the great trading platform Kalshi?
Yes, I have. It's been fantastic. This is one of the first and only federally regulated prediction markets in the U.S. And if you're looking for odds for all kinds of different things, not just what we're talking about, the markets in the Stanley Cup, the NBA Finals, you can trade with crypto. You can look for trades within the markets involving entertainment, politics. There's all kinds of different markets you can look for, and you can use the odds over at Kalshi.
Time of year to get involved with Kalshi. Certainly, if you're a sports fan, Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA playoffs, baseball now underway, with all the different markets to create winning trades. Make sure you're checking out all that Kalshi has to offer.
Absolutely. And if you're trading with Kalshi, use the link kalshi.com/ice guys. You trade $100 or more, they will send you $10 back. So it's fantastic to use. Like I said, any kind of markets beyond sports. We're talking entertainment, politics, crypto, basically anything you want.
So make sure you sign up, kalshi.com/ice guys. Note that it's live on Robinhood and available in all 50 states, making it the first legal place to trade on these kind of events nationwide. Check it out, kalshi.com/ice guys. Shout out to all our great sponsors, Boston Hemp Inc., 20% off using the promo code ICEGUYS at bostonhempinc.com. And, of course, the great trading platform, sports, crypto, politics, entertainment, you name it. It's got it. Make sure you check it out, kalshi.com/iceguys. A shout out to our old colleague, Andrew McGinnis. I see him in the chat. Good to see him. Hope he's well. Absolutely. All right, a bargain bin special of the night. Jesper Boquist, man, was a great one on Saturday night. What was it? Plus 450 in the lineup on the board in his first game, right up there on that top line with Barkov and Rodriguez. Instant chemistry. Don't skip a beat, even with no Sam Reinhart. So impressive, this Florida team. They really are plug and play in every sense of the word. I mean, they just the next man up, and that man comes in and does the job. No questions asked. So it's been just impressive. And Jesper Boquist, just one of those examples. Alex, bargain bin special for you for game 4 tonight. What do you like?
If you were to ask this gentleman in October what he'd probably be doing in late May or June, probably would have told you hanging out with family or friends, maybe watching his dad's NBA team if they were still in the playoffs. I'm talking about Seth Jones. Starting off the year, the Chicago Blackhawks team going absolutely nowhere. He was really upset about how things went. All of a sudden, he gets traded to Sunrise, and now here he is, one game away from being in the Stanley Cup final. I think he gets on the board tonight. You can grab him anytime goal scorer plus 700 at both FanDuel and DraftKings. So Seth Jones, anytime goal scorer, as Florida looks to close this one out in 4. That's my bargain bin special tonight.
That angle is a good one. This is a guy that has been around this league for a long time. Seth Jones, Chicago, Columbus, you name it. This is his first chance to get to a Stanley Cup final. Wouldn't he want to do a little something extra tonight to help his team get there? And don't forget, he has scored a couple of goals here in the playoffs, one in the Tampa series, one in the Toronto series as well. Hasn't scored yet in this series. But that doesn't mean it can't happen. So I like that. Seth Jones, Florida Panthers, plus 700 for Alex B. Smith with his bargain bin special of the night. Plus 750, actually, at some spots. So really good look. I think that makes sense. I think this could be a night where maybe he gets involved again, as far as finding the back of the net. Perlo, bargain bin special.
I'll do your take one from both sides. Gives me 2 shots anyway. So, I'm going to go with a guy that's just been putting up points like crazy ever since he's been put up on that top line. He's a guy that feeds to everybody. I'm going to be a little casual here. I'm going to be kind of a wimp, I guess. I'm going to take Rodriguez over 1.5 points. He's did it 3 games in a row now. I would also play over 1.5 assists because he's mostly a play guy. So if they can get a plus 850 right now, I'm going to play both of those. So I'm going to go with that. Barkov has been playing fantastic. He's been feeding. He's been playing well. He's playing top. I think he's playing on the top power play unit too. So I'm going to go with that trend. And on the other side, he did come out. It's funny. It's sort of the same thing I was going to say, but I didn't think of Jones. But I think that you want to talk about a guy who didn't really think he was going to be here also on the other side. And he was a guy that did have enough leadership to come out and talk to the media. I'm going to go with Taylor Hall to score a goal there. They got him on the top line. I think that at the very, I'm not sure I necessarily agreed with what he said, but he did come out and say it, and he is taking the leadership role. So I think he'll have a good game today. Plus 390, I think you can get him at. I'll take Taylor Hall.
All right, there you go. Taylor Hall, plus 500. Best price out there with Taylor Hall.
Plus 500, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Evan Rod for a goal, and Evan Rodriguez over 1.5 points. And again, you can get that at a pretty good price as well for a Perlo with bargain bin special. 2 bargain bin specials. I'll give you 2, and I'll give you even though I think Carolina's done so tonight, I'll give you a Carolina bargain bin special as well. I do want to have something on Carolina, some kind of pro Carolina bet, because everything pregame sides and totals is Florida for me. But I'm still going to take a Carolina bargain bin, and I'm going to go to Jackson Blake. Jackson Blake took that hit from Kuhlman Luostarinen. Obviously in the last game, still ended up finishing the game. He's actually, I think, been a forward that at least has been going to the net, trying to go to those tough areas to score goals for the Hurricanes, and he has scored in this series already. So plus 450 for Jackson Blake for Carolina. We'll go with that for my 1 bargain bin special. The other bargain bin special, I'm running it back. It's too good of a price not to. Jesper Boquist, plus 462. See if it was so nice to cash it on Saturday. Let's see if we can make it twice. Jesper Boquist, plus 462 to find the back of the net again, up with Barkov and Rodriguez on that top line. So there you go. Jackson Blake, Jesper Boquist for my 2 bargain bin specials of the night. Best bets, Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Well, I believe this is going to be a closeout for Florida, and I think we're going to see at least 2 goals from the Panthers in the third period. Shop around, grab the best number. It's at FanDuel. Florida team total in the third period, over 1.5, plus 200. That's my best bet for Game 4.
All right, there you go. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. Perlo, best bet.
Before I give it to you, I also have 2 parlays. Go to Perlo's NHL POW. You can get all that there. You can also become a member of my community. We're having a blast. We do lives when we're not doing betcasts there on Spaces, and it's fun. So I'd like to see y'all head there. That's Perlo's NHL POW. My best bet is simple. I hope you're right, because I'm just going to, if they're going to get 2 in the third, they probably are going to get over 3. I went over to BetMGM. I'm taking bet over 3. I got it at minus 120 for the Florida Panthers. Team total over 3.
All right, Florida Panthers team total over 3 for Perlo with his best bet. And my best bet's the same, except I don't not that he's betting to push. He's betting to win too, Perlo, but I'll give you the 3.5 on it.
Yeah, okay.
You catch with it on in Game 3 on Saturday. Actually, I used over 3 on Saturday. I'm going to go for the over 3.5 this time, though. Plus 130 for Florida Panthers. Team total over 3.5 to probably finish the series in a sweep, but it's very unlikely they score 4 and don't win the game. But bottom line is, I think they get to 4 regardless. Florida Panthers team total over 3.5 plus 130 for my best bet here for this Game 4 in the Eastern Conference Final. By the way, if you didn't see it, check out the Paul Maurice press conference yesterday. Just classic. Sometimes you say a prayer, sometimes you shotgun a beer. That's kind of like our team. And the whole dialogue that he had with the reporter that asked him the initial question, how is your team so belligerent and, mean and nasty on the ice? And, yet they seem so calm and actually nice and, very, very not bragging off the ice. And that's basically the analogy he kind of went with there. It was pretty cool. But Paul Maurice, a master of the mic, doing some magic again here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Great stuff. We appreciate it. Tomorrow's a big day. We'll be back on Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern to preview Game 4, Edmonton, Dallas. And again, live betcast tomorrow night for Game 4 of the Western Conference Final, Patreon exclusive. Definitely looking forward to that. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast if you can't watch the show live. Congratulations to the Laval Rocket and Texas Stars for getting to the AHL Calder Cup Conference Finals yesterday. They both won. Jordan Sambrook and the Blades facing elimination in Game 6, down 3-2 to Trois-Rivières tomorrow night. I'll be keeping my eye on that. You better believe it. during the betcast. For Alex B. Smith and Perlo, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night and the rest of your Memorial Day south of the border. And we'll be back tomorrow on Tuesday for another edition of the Ice Guys.